You know, we believe in enterprise MRO, which really encompasses what we believe all aspects of the supply chain in MRO. SDI has invested, and we have an engineering services group that we think is pretty important to what we do. And our last speaker, Joel Levitt, comes from lifecycle engineering, who we've been having discussions with, because we think that tying the engineering, the reliability side to the MRO parts world is an area that really hasn't gotten nearly as much attention and focus as we think it should or could going forward.
A little bit about me. I've been 25 years doing this kind of thing. I'm director of international projects for Lifecycle, so that means that I get to spend a lot of time in airplanes. That's the distinction. Our regular consultants, you know, when they go to a job, it's 3 hours, 2 hours. When I go to a job, it's 14 hours. So I spend a lot of time in hotels, so I do a little bit of writing. So I've written 10 books on maintenance issues. And actually now I'm writing a book on maintenance inventories. Okay, so this will make a difference who I'm talking to, but I have had a hard time getting through to people of what actually the whole inventory is about. And the reason is because we call it an inventory. And I don't even think it's really an inventory. What I think it's really a group of insurance policies. Okay? So what we're going to talk about is risk management. It's like the inventory of Walmart or the old Sears or a grocery store. It's not that. You know, I have clients that I put stuff on the shelf for the express purpose of never using. I actually do that to make money. I buy it to never use it. Because if I used it, then that meant my preventive maintenance system blew it. Power plant downtime, $160,000 an hour. Now, if I was, let's see, if I divide, okay, somebody help me here. Divide $1 billion by 8,700. Somebody do that. Well, it's $1 billion by 10,000, right? So 100 times 1,000, $100,000 an hour. That's what your downtime costs. That's a little rough, but you get what I just did? Everybody get what I just did? I just said what the price was. Cigarette manufacturing, $240,000 an hour. They have a plant in Richmond. It's Philip Morris. They used to give tours of it. They don't do it anymore. You walk in and there's this rosewood desk that must cost $30,000, and there's reception person, and then there's a sign on the desk that says "Thank you for smoking." What we're going to do is avoid the risk, mitigate the risk, and one of the ways we mitigate is insurance, or we accept the risk. For example, with tools, small tools, I don't know if anybody here does shutdowns where the plant is shut down for some period of time. You do that? You guys do that? And like maybe 100 or 1,000 contractors come on the site and do a bunch of work. I bet that's a headache for you. Is that? Yeah. So you do the shutdown, and one of the risks that you have is that some of your tools are going to not be there at the end of the shutdown. They're somehow going to drift off of the site. When you have contractors around. What's the probability of that happening? 100%. Maybe 99.5%. There may have been a shutdown somewhere that didn't. But what do we do about that? We don't go through like a prison level scan. We just have a rent-a-cop at the door that waves to the people when they leave, because we're accepting the risk, right? So we mitigate through inventory control. That's part of the SDI, the intelligence of the software and stuff, figures this stuff out and makes it so that it's a less risky environment. It's not necessarily more expensive even, because some of the stuff you don't really need it that fast, so it's okay to have low service levels. But on the stuff you need it, and you have to identify that you need it. Save money by allowing larger purchases, bulk purchases. Save money by, putting several things on the same purchase order and managing the cost of acquisition, the cost COA. Okay, so the answer is no to the first one, no to the second one, no to the third one, and no to the fourth one, just to be clear. The primary mission of the storeroom is to manage the risk of downtime, pure and simple, particularly for your highly critical systems, assets, and components. So Chicago O'Hare Field has these crash trucks that drive, when a plane has trouble, the crash trucks drive alongside the plane and they foam underneath it. And they're made by a truck company called Oshkosh. They have 5 trucks. And the rule is that if every 20 minutes for every 4 hours, they start the trucks up and make sure that the oil pressure, to ensure that they're there when they need them. So if one truck doesn't start or there's some problem, that's not a problem. If 2 trucks can't start, they actually start to consider cutting the field capacity, Chicago O'Hare, right? If they can't get any trucks to start for some catastrophic reason, they literally shut the field down, okay? So you're looking at consequences. This truck is 20 years old and has 1,900 miles on it. Like, what does it do? It drives to the field and then it drives back when the crash didn't happen, Or occasionally, if there's some problem, it'll run along the thing. It's like 2 miles. A mile, 2 miles, mile back, 4 miles. So this truck hasn't been made in 10 years. So the spare parts are not available from the OEM. When I look at how much it costs to keep an inventory, I'm in 25 to 55%. I don't know if that's what you guys find when you look at all the costs, the buildings and cost of money and everything. This is a big one now, obsolescence, because we see, well, that's the part of the business where you do the engineering of the, reverse engineering of the parts, when you can't get them anymore. But it seems like with some parts, by the time you install it, it's already obsolete. It's the machine is obsolete, and then it's harder to get parts. I want you to think about this. The cost to hold the part is the premium you're paying on that insurance that the part represents. So, I just paid my car insurance. I was thrilled. In Havertown, man, we moved from up Plymouth Meeting down to Havertown, and my insurance bill went down by like half. I was thrilled. I was like, I could work with this, But the premium I paid is the cost of owning the part, the cost of the money, the opportunity cost, the space, the fact that some of the parts are going to be not usable at some point in the future. So you're looking at shelves of very specific insurance policies, really specific. Each inventory is mitigating, each item is mitigating the consequence of a particular failure. And man, this is a massive thing to do mentally, because you could be looking at 20,000 SKUs, 40,000 SKUs without any problem. And each of them represents like a decision. I mean, imagine if you had to manage 40,000 insurance policies. But that's really what's going on. That's why when I look at an inventory, I don't actually see it as an inventory assets held, held for, to make something. I look at it as mitigation. Because if I happen to have a plant right next to a Home Depot, I don't need as much stuff in my storeroom. Particularly if I can make a deal with them delivering the stuff over. Every day they'll bring a truck over. I'll let them hold as much as they want, The contribution of finance is balancing the cost of ownership with the risk of downtime. I say don't be stupid, don't just cut the number. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's not just cutting the number. I come in, they call me, and they pay a lot of money, and I come in after somebody does that, and they can't understand why they can't keep their plant running. So I find who bought the stuff for 10 cents on the dollar or 3 cents on the dollar and try to buy it back, some of it.